Okay, a couple things. Last week I thought a growth period for our team. I thought they really competed well last week. Beset with a couple of injuries here and there along the way that we didn't necessarily prepare on dealing with, but had I thought a good game with UAB. Really competed, put ourselves in a position down the stretch there against UAB, and just got out-rebounded pretty badly that game, which was disappointing in that regard. But then when Middle came to town on Saturday, once again set back with a couple things we didn't see coming necessarily. Ryan Murphy broke his foot the day of the shoot-around. We had to play with basically 6 players to finish the game. Andrew White went out with a concussion at halftime that we lost him for the second half. But man, did our guys compete. I thought they played really, really hard. I thought the atmosphere was fantastic. We had guys rise to the occasion. I thought Najee Garvin was really good for us in that game. Everybody contributed. Jalen contributed. Our point guard contributed. Our 2 guards, everybody that played contributed. And I say that, and that's 6 people, so I can name them off one by one and share each name for you. Share each name if you'd like for me to. I'll be glad to do that too. But just really happy with the way they competed. Had the ball down 3 with 10 seconds to go, an opportunity to force that game a little bit longer if we needed to, and that's just against the standard bearer in our league right now, who's MTSU and has been for the last couple of years. So great growth by our team, and we could come into practice this week and competed just as hard. So looking forward to going on the road this week with these guys, and we'll let you know Thursday how many we're going to have dressed. Hopefully we'll have more than 6 when we go to battle on Thursday at Louisiana Tech, a team that plays well at home. So does Southern Miss. Both teams play really well at home. They're really athletic. They have a lot of good scores on the perimeter, not as big on the inside, but a lot of good perimeter scores and good perimeter athletes. So there'll be teams that we sort of look eye to eye with personnel-wise. So I look forward to another big road trip. I thought, as far as him, staying ready, he hadn't had as much opportunity as some of the other freshmen have, and he's sort of caught behind Andrew and behind Austin and some of those guys not getting as much playing time. But now when he's forced into action, I thought the other night he did some good things. He made a big 3 for us. He passes the ball well. He's got such good size on the perimeter that he can see over zones and does a good job of delivering passes. He's a little excitable, which you would think, out of a freshman. But he is so hard on himself. He gets on himself and he speaks to himself in Serbian, so I don't know what he's saying to himself. So it throws me a little bit. But he competes so very hard. And as he learns to sort of contain that emotion and just play, focused and making sure we're understanding what's going on in the moment, then he's going to become even better. But he's got a chance to be really, really good for us. And got a text from him just as soon as the game was over with. Coach, I'm sorry I made these mistakes. Just mentioned a couple things he did wrong. I got a text from him on the drive home. Don't worry about that. And he said, I just want you to play through that, continue to grow, and they're also conscientious, the guys we have now, and so they feel bad when they make mistakes. He thought he took a couple quick threes, which I agreed with. He took a couple quick threes, but at the same time, he made some huge contributions for us. He was good in our zone, and like I say, to have a 6'8" wing, gives you some added length as well. Right, we did, and we tried. We ran something for him, David, early on, and we ran a play designed to get him the ball inside. You have the option of getting it inside or going out and set a ball screen if you're the post player. Well, the first thing he does run out and sets a ball screen. So, Jalen, we ran that to get you the ball inside. And it's, gosh, my fault, try it again. So he wanted to come back and run it again. And we got it to him, and he got down and finished and scored. And he looked over and sort of gave me that little wink, But to see how far he's come from when he started, we continue to work on developing his hands and his ability around the rim. But he caught that one ball, and John makes him a pass. He catches it on the run, just scoops it off the ground, and goes up and dunks it in without a dribble. Shows so much growth in him. And he is a when you look up the word student athlete, there'll be a picture of him right beside it. He is fantastic. He is a role model for all of our other guys. He's very articulate. He knows what he wants out of his life. He's a hard worker. He didn't come from much, and he's taking the most of his opportunities now and making the most of his opportunities now. And once again, he's another guy that's extremely conscientious and hard on himself. He wants to watch more film. He wants to find out why he doesn't have his advantage. Why did he drop this ball, or where was he supposed to be defensively? And so he's continuing to work, and just really proud of having him on our side. I said this the other day, and I think it's important, is that if you came to watch our practice, you wouldn't know what our record was. And I think that still holds true. And that's been that way this week. because we've still, once again, Milos missed practice, and then Andrew missed practice for his evaluation, and Murph's out, and Bryant's out because he's hurt, and we've got 6 people in practice on Monday. But you would have thought the entire team was out there the way they competed. I mean, we played some 3-on-3 stuff, and then we put some walk-ons in against some of our other guys, and just continued to practice like nothing ever happened. And it's always been that next man up mentality, and those guys have stepped forward, and just really proud of the way they've done that. But I think we've continued to grow. I think that was just another sign of growth. And if you look once again at the teams we've played at home, except for Old Dominion, we've been involved in every game. In the second half, we've been involved in every. We put ourselves in position to be there. And then the earlier games, we started going away about the 14-minute mark. Then we started going away about the 12-minute mark, and then we went away about the 7-minute mark against UAB. The other night, we're right there with a couple possessions away. So hopefully this growth is going to be sustained. Now we go on the road to try to test it on the road with 2 good teams this weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we can continue our growth. Well, I think they both they feed off their crowds there. They play with great energy at home, and if you look at their percentage, they shoot the ball much better at home too, which is statistically bears out there too. But they it's not easy to go to Ruston, and sometimes it's not easy to go to Hattiesburg and get fired up. Those guys are waiting for you and ready to pounce on you when you get down there. They do have good home crowds and good support there. So, and traditionally they've had great basketball. So we've got to go down and be prepared to face them. I mean, it's funny because the way you look at how people approach you is a little bit different. Does somebody look at you at 1-9 approach you a little bit different than they would if you're a 9-1? And that could be the case as well. So that's why we don't talk about records. We don't talk about making a tournament. We just talk about getting better every night out. And I think we've continued to do that. And here's the interesting 2 things. Number one, I've been in different situations with different coaches in my career, and I've been with coaches who have 1 contact practice a week, and that's it, just because they don't want to injure guys and they want rest and recovery. It's so important for them during the season. Bruce Pearl was that way. We would have basically 1 contact practice a week. Conzo Martin had contact practices every day of the week. Just different people I work with do things differently. And for us, one good thing about having a limited bench is they know they're going to play. Sometimes you sit over there, you're not sure if you're getting in or not. But if there's 6 or 7 guys sitting over there, they know they're getting in the game. They may be ready to go. And the one year I was at App, that I ended up getting Coach of the Year in the league at Appalachian one year, and we had a very, very limited bench. But all those guys, we had about 8 people that knew they were going to play every night, and that was it. So every night out, they were prepared to go. Whether if we got a 10 or 11-man rotation, I might get in tonight, I might not, depending on what happens. So I may be ready, I may not be ready. But when you got 6, 7, and 8, those guys know they got to come in, they got to carry the rope. They know they got to come in and do their part, not to let this bunch down. And I thought we saw that the other night, whether it was Luca or Bryant or whomever came in the game. They didn't let us slip. They kept us up on a high level, and I think that's the good part about having a small bench. Those guys know they're going to play.